Hi Scorpio, welcome. In this episode, we're taking a look at planetary rulership in astrology. First, we'll briefly go over what planetary rulers are and their purpose, and then we'll get into what specific meaning this holds for the zodiac sign Scorpio. Planetary rulers impart certain important features to their respective signs. Each planet is associated with an ancient Greek god or goddess, whose powers and attributes are expressed through the zodiac signs they rule. And the planets themselves also possess astrophysical characteristics which relate to their sign's signature traits. Now I'm going to get into what this means for Scorpio specifically. So, Scorpio is traditionally ruled by Mars. You may have heard that Pluto rules Scorpio, which is a comparatively modern concept. I'm going to talk about both Mars and Pluto as Scorpio's rulers, so you can decide for yourself which you prefer or if you like both. The planet Mars holds power over certain specific areas of life. These include courage, heroism, leadership, direct assertive action, weaponry, warfare, battles, competition, athletics, protectiveness, shielding, safeguarding, strength, toughness, resilience, inhibition, animal instinct, fierceness, intensity, independence, individuality, energy, drive, pursuit, passion, fire, and heat. And all of this tells us a lot about the signs Mars rules in a symbolic sense, because the essence of Mars is woven into the very fabric of who Scorpio is. Ancient Greek astrologers associated this planet with Ares, their god of war and bravery. Mars is his Latin name, which we more commonly use to refer to the planet today. In mythology, the god Ares represents the vitality and courage to triumph over hardships or adversaries. It's the energy of doing battle and putting it all on the line for some kind of righteous purpose. This god puts people through a trial by fire, a test of one's merit and strength. And so, of course, this makes the zodiac sign Scorpio pretty badass. In terms of the astronomical qualities of the planet itself, the most striking thing about Mars is its color. Mars is the red planet. Ancient Greek astrologers actually nicknamed this planet the fiery one because of its distinct color. They associated it with things like the vitality of lifeblood and the fiery nature of their god of war. What ancient astrologers wouldn't have known at the time is that Mars also has a deep gash, a crater across its surface, which looks like a scar. So even the planet's physical appearance is that of a battle-wounded warrior. And this warrior attribute isn't just an appearance. Mars actually functions in the solar system as a protector of Earth. It's our first line of defense against asteroids that break loose from the asteroid belt. Space is a dangerous place. It's filled with asteroids and comets and debris that could impact Earth to such an extent as to make this planet uninhabitable. But some of our neighbors offer us protection and take the brunt of the damage. Recent statistics from NASA suggest that Mars is struck by around 200 asteroids a year. Asteroids that might otherwise be headed toward Earth if Mars wasn't there. So Mars is basically taking 200 bullets for us a year. This is the planet of heroes. If you've ever read Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces, it talks about the literary formula for creating an epic story, the quintessential hero's journey. And the basic formula goes like this. It takes an innocent, unassuming person out of their ordinary life and places them in challenging situations. These are often traumatic or even life-threatening and demoralizing to the point where the person wishes to give up altogether. But in confronting their external powerlessness over their circumstances, the individual finds a profound sense of power within. This new self-awareness allows them to achieve their goals and ultimately leaves them forever changed. They emerge from the experience with a sense of enlightenment that they can share with others. Scorpio is a water sign focused on inner emotional realms, so that hero's journey tends to be applied within. Scorpios typically experience some kind of early emotional trauma where they are fundamentally let down by people they should have been able to trust. This forges within them a robust sense of self-reliance. The Scorpio story is a deeply life-affirming one. It's the story of the battle-weary warrior, moments from defeat, who has been put through the gauntlet, beaten down and betrayed by enemies and friends alike, but who somehow finds the strength to keep going, to keep fighting. The energy of Mars gives Scorpio that endurance to be the last one standing, to see the dawn of a new day. And from that primal wound, Scorpio becomes stronger, kind of like how scar tissue has a thicker texture to it. They grow a thick skin to protect their very soft, sensitive, emotional core. And they also grow more compassionate. Mars is the god and the planet of protectors, of those who defend the more vulnerable. Scorpio's protectiveness is again going to have quite an internal and a localized focus, where they're very protective of themselves and those closest to them. Scorpio, being a water sign, directs their protectiveness specifically to a select few that they are deeply emotionally bonded to. It's quite a profound experience where the meaning behind their protectiveness is very heartfelt and loving. They're not going to do that for everyone. So it's quite special for those who do wind up with a Scorpio as their protector. And because Scorpio is a fixed sign, they possess a deep commitment to the pursuit of their passions. In this sign, the intense energy of Mars is compressed and distilled down into a sort of laser focus, and they become very dedicated to their roles as guardians. If you'd like to learn more about how Scorpio manifests the fixed energy, you can check out my other video, What It Means to Be a Fixed Sign, linked in the description. Mars energy is what gives us the strength to keep fighting, even when we're in pain, even when we're defeated. It's that fierce instinct to do whatever it takes to make it through. And this gets manifested in Scorpio through their ability to shed or purge or excise what is toxic or destructive and purify themselves and start again clean. This is where the cliches come from about Scorpio being ruthless, where they'll just cut people out of their lives with the vengeful scorpion sting. The reality is that Scorpios typically have no interest in hurting anyone unprovoked, and if a Scorpio cut someone off, there was a damn good reason. Anyone who's felt a Scorpio's wrath probably deserved it. Scorpio is often referenced in popular astrology as the sign of death and rebirth, the destruction and then the rising again of the phoenix. When life isn't working out, the fiery attributes of Mars gives Scorpio this ability to burn everything to the ground and start again fresh out of the ashes. So you'll find that Scorpios resurrect themselves many times throughout their life. Who they were 10 years ago is very different from who they are today and who they will be 10 years in the future. They have this rapid evolution process of the soul. It's almost like they're living multiple karmas and leveling up many times all in one lifetime. This is especially when young. Scorpios tend to stabilize a lot once they get past age 30 or 40. It's an intense experience to be a Scorpio and to grow up and live through that process. But the end result, as they mature through that, is the cultivation of a personality and a self-identity with such refinement. They become a highly authentic, self-aware, enlightened version of themselves. It's a very beautiful essence. It's kind of like how a diamond is formed. You have that intense pressure and heat and just unlivable, unbearable conditions. But when it's over, you get this beautiful gem that embodies the ideals of clarity, purity, and strength, which very much describes Scorpio energy. So let's switch gears and talk about Pluto. Pluto is one of the farthest out bodies in our solar system that we know of. It can't be seen without modern technology, and so humans have only been aware of its existence for less than 100 years. That alone gives it a sense of obscurity, darkness, depth. It was named for the god of the underworld, Hades, or Pluton, also known as Pluto in Latin. And Scorpio also has this association with hidden depths and the unseen realms because it's a water sign. This sign is steely enough to venture into places so emotionally deep that other signs are afraid to tread. Pluto was discovered during the rise of fascist authoritarianism in Europe around the time of World War II. This period in human history also included the development of nuclear fission for weaponry. So some astrologers believe Pluto to have an association with Scorpio due to Scorpio's intensely transformative qualities, as well as the sign's relationship to topics like power, trauma, death, and rebirth. Because of its relatively recent discovery, not all astrologers use Pluto in their practice, and there is serious debate in the field as to whether the non-ancient planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, have any significance in astrology at all, let alone as the rulers of zodiac signs. Astrologers that do use Pluto believe that this planet holds power over certain areas of life, which include atomic science, crises, destruction, mass death, decay, control, manipulation, power, obsession, fixation, wealth, minerals, mining and excavation, caves and caverns, the subterranean, extreme depths, the subconscious, psychology, fears and phobias, the forbidden, illicit, and taboo. Not all of those have a whole lot to do with Scorpio, but one interesting one that does, which wasn't already covered in the Mars segment, is the association with mining and excavation. In Greek mythology, the god Hades, or Pluto, because his realm is the underworld, he rules wealth and riches in the form of minerals and gemstones that are mined from deep below the earth. That is my favorite connection between Pluto and Scorpio, because a Scorpio's heart is like buried treasure. It takes some effort to get to it, but those who do become rich beyond their wildest dreams. Thank you so much for listening, Scorpio. Leave a like if you enjoyed getting to know your planetary rulers. Comment if you have any questions. Share this with your friends or other Scorpios in your life. And please subscribe. I would be so happy to have you with me.